In private wealth management, relationships aren't just important, they're everything. Trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and decades to repair. So when the executive team at Harlow & Pierce Capital told me I was being transitioned out so the CEO's nephew, fresh MBA, zero real-world experience, could bring modern energy to the role, I didn't argue. I just nodded, packed my things, and walked out. 90 days later, the firm lost nearly a quarter of its assets under management, over $200 million, because every major client followed me to the advisory firm I built from scratch. This is the story of how they underestimated the wrong man, and how the market itself helped me serve the coldest revenge possible. If you've ever been sidelined, underestimated, or replaced by someone with connections instead of competence, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and buckle in. This revenge doesn't just burn, it scorches the earth. My name is Daniel Reed. For 11 years, I worked as a client relationship director at Harlow & Pierce Capital, a mid-level investment firm in downtown Cincinnati. Not a mega firm like BlackRock, not a boutique shop either, just big enough to matter, small enough to feel political. We managed around $850 million in client assets. High net worth families, surgeons, regional business owners, retirees with seven-figure portfolios. My job? Keep those relationships alive. I knew every client's risk tolerance, tax preference, estate plan, their kid's graduation date, their fear of inflation, their hatred of tech stocks, their obsession with municipal bonds. I knew it all. I wasn't just a relationship manager. I was the bridge between people's life savings and the firm's revenue. And I was good. Top performer 8 years running. Zero compliance flags. Over $210 million in AUM tied directly to my book. Clients trusted me because I told them the truth even when the market didn't. Which is why what happened next still felt like a punch to the chest. It was a Tuesday morning in early April. I had just wrapped up a quarterly portfolio review with one of my largest clients, an orthopedic surgeon with a $17 million equity-heavy portfolio. When I got the email, please come to conference room 3B at 11 a.m. Mandatory. Nothing good ever starts with mandatory. I walked in to find the CEO, Grant Harlow, and the COO, Denise Mulligan, waiting. Both avoided eye contact. Grant cleared his throat. Dan, we're restructuring the client services division. I waited. He continued. Starting next month, we're moving to a more modern, digitally forward client engagement model. Translation? Someone up high wanted my job. I folded my hands. Who's taking over my accounts? He inhaled deeply, like he knew I wouldn't like the answer. My nephew, Tyler. There it was. 25 years old, fresh MBA, zero real-world experience, a TikTok account offering finance tips to college students, nepotism in Armani loafers. Grant said, we're confident Tyler's background in behavioral finance will resonate with the next generation of clients. I almost laughed. These clients are retired surgeons and manufacturing executives. They don't care about Instagram reels. They care about stable returns and tax efficiency. He didn't respond. Denise slid a paper across the table. A severance agreement. 3 months' pay. I stared at it. Let me ask you something, I said quietly. Does Tyler know what a Schedule K1 is? Silence. Does he know how to rebalance a concentrated equity position during a volatile quarter without triggering unnecessary capital gains? More silence. I nodded, closed the folder, and stood up. I hope you know what you're doing. Grant forced a smile. We're confident. He wasn't. He just hoped confidence would replace competence. It never does. I packed my things into one banker's box, a framed photo of my son, my Mont Blanc pen, 27 client files that I'd printed for review, and a single USB drive, containing nothing proprietary, just the client engagement templates I had personally designed. As I walked out, Tyler was standing in the hallway grinning like he'd won some competition. Hey Dan, no hard feelings. I'm sure I'll do great. I looked him dead in the eye. You have no idea what you're stepping into. He laughed, arrogant, unaware, and completely, dangerously unqualified. 2 weeks later, the call started. Not to me, yet, but to the firm. Clients couldn't reach Tyler. He didn't respond to emails. He didn't answer questions. He didn't understand their portfolios. One client asked him about their tax loss harvesting strategy. He responded, "Let me get back to you." Second client asked about rebalancing. Same answer. A third client tried to schedule their annual review. Tyler was not available for the next 3 weeks. Meanwhile, I spent my time drafting something I'd put off for years, my own advisory firm business plan. I named it Reed Private Wealth Advisory. Consulting-based, fee-only, transparent. No politics, just competence. Mid-May, the market took a sudden dip. Not catastrophic, just enough to rattle clients, especially older conservative ones. This is where a relationship director earns their keep. You call clients. You explain the fundamentals. You revisit risk exposure. You calm nerves. But Tyler didn't call anyone. He froze. The firm's main line was flooded. I know this because the first person who called me after I left was Margaret Ellison, an 82-year-old widow with $5.3 million in a mixed-income portfolio. She said, "Daniel, dear, I tried calling the firm and no one explained what's happening. Could you possibly help me?" I responded carefully, "Margaret, I'm no longer with Harlow & Pierce, but if you want me to walk you through the market, I'm happy to." That conversation turned into 2 hours of portfolio review. When we finished, she said something I will never forget. "Daniel, wherever you go next, my account is coming with you." I hadn't even launched my firm yet, but I suddenly realized I wouldn't need advertising. I had trust. One of the most dangerous things in wealth management is mishandling client documentation. Tyler did exactly that. He submitted a beneficiary update with 3 fields missing. He executed a portfolio rebalancing without proper consent. He uploaded a client's statement to the wrong folder, violating privacy protocols. Harlow & Pierce received 2 internal compliance warnings in a single week. This had never happened under my watch. Ever. Grant called me on a Friday evening. "Dan, quick question. Do you remember where we saved the legacy client risk profiles? I think Tyler can't locate them." I smiled. "At home, in my kitchen, drinking a beer." "Grant, I don't work there anymore." He exhaled through the phone. "We might need you back for a few weeks, just until Tyler gets acclimated." I responded with calm, measured professionalism. "I can consult. $300 per hour, 20-hour minimum per week." He hesitated. "That's significantly more than your salary." "Yes," I said, "because you no longer own my time." He said he'd think about it. He didn't call back. Early June, I filed the registration paperwork and opened Reed Private Wealth Advisory. No fanfare, no launch party, just a website, a compliance filing, and a simple philosophy. Competence is rare, trust is priceless. I didn't solicit clients from Harlow & Pierce. That would violate my contract. What happened next required no solicitation. Clients found me. One by one. The firm was bleeding. Grant called again. This time he didn't mask the panic. "Dan, please, we need to talk." I said, "I'm extremely busy with my clients. If you need consulting help, I can schedule you in August." "August? We're drowning!" "That's not my problem anymore." There was silence. "Dan, you're killing us." "No, Grant," I said. "You're killing yourselves. I just left the room before the ship sank." He hung up. August 3rd. Harlow & Pierce sent a mass email to remaining high-net-worth clients assuring them that the transition was going smoothly and long-term performance remained strong. It backfired. 5 clients forwarded the email to me asking, "Is this true?" I responded professionally every time. "I cannot speak for Harlow & Pierce, but here's what I can offer." They transferred their accounts within a week. By September 1st, Harlow & Pierce AUM down 26%, compliance cost up 40%, client churn highest in firm history, board pressure severe, nephew Tyler quietly reassigned to an internal strategy role. Meanwhile, my firm, $164 million in assets under management, 21 clients, 0 compliance issues, 0 politics. I hired 2 analysts from another firm, rented an office overlooking the river, built a brand clients trusted. The more Harlow & Pierce sank, the higher I rose. Late September. A black Mercedes pulled up outside my office. Grant Harlow stepped out, tie loose, eyes sunken, carrying a folder under his arm. He asked for a meeting. I agreed. He sat across from me, exhausted in a way only a collapsing business can create. Dan, is there any way, any possible way, you'd come back? No. We can renegotiate your compensation, bring you in as a partner, restore your client book, anything. I'm not interested. His voice cracked. We're losing everything. I'm losing everything. That's unfortunate, I said calmly, but this is the result of your decisions. He swallowed hard. He knew it was true. He stood up, nodded, and left without another word. That was the last time I saw him. Today, Reed Private Wealth Advisory manages over $200 million in assets under management. We've grown every quarter. Clients refer their friends. We operate with transparency, competence, and zero politics. Meanwhile, Harlow and Pierce Capital, absorbed by a larger firm in a distressed acquisition. Brand retired. Offices closed. Key staff laid off. Tyler, rumor says he left finance entirely. Grant retired early. No scandal, no shouting match, no courtroom drama. Just the quiet weight of consequences. Because in finance, the market doesn't care about connections. The market rewards competence and punishes arrogance. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Clients don't stay for glossy pitches. They don't stay for modern apps. They don't stay because the CEO wants his nephew to have a job. They stay because of trust. Because you pick up the phone. Because you tell the truth. Because you know their portfolio better than anyone else ever will. Take that trust away, and the whole empire crumbles. If you enjoyed this story of cold, calculated professional revenge, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories where the underestimated finally rise. Drop a comment below. What industry should the next revenge story take place in? I read every comment